Before we learn how to use the average function on the calculator, we have to learn about the p.ic function on your calculator. So go ahead and set your on-off switch to the p.ic, in other words, the far right setting. IC stands for integer count. The primary use for p.ic is to keep track of the number of items you have added. Also, the p.ic setting must be set to integer count in order to use the average function. So the p.ic setting does two things. It sets the calculator to print, that's what the p means. The calculator will count the number of times the plus key or the m plus key has been pressed. And each time the minus or the m minus key is pressed, it will subtract one from the count. And of course, we're going to do an example. So again, make sure your on-off switch is set to p.ic and then add the following numbers. What is the total that you get? You should get 45. How many numbers were added? Obviously 9 numbers were added. And notice that this number is printed in the left column as long as 1. You press the asterisk at the end of the addition problem like you always should be doing. And your on-off switch is set to p.ic. Now the integer count is cleared if any of these keys are pressed. The asterisk, multiplication, division, or AVG, which stands for the average function. Or AVG, which is the average function. And in case you're curious, the counter has a maximum capacity of 3 digits, up to 999. If the count exceeds the maximum, the counter will recount from 0. And of course, if you're adding up more than 999 items, I feel sorry for you. Maybe you should be using Excel. So now that we learned about the p.ic switch, we can learn about the average function. The AVG key will average the numbers you have added. But to do that, your calculator has to know, well, how many numbers have you added? And the only way that the calculator knows how many numbers you've added is if you set the on-off switch to p.ic. So again, make sure your on-off switch is still set to p.ic and add these numbers. Once you're done, to calculate their average, press the AVG key. And you should have an answer of 2. Notice that AG is printed on your tape. That stands for average. Now this number, the average of 2, is only printed on your tape if you have pressed the asterisk at the end of the addition problem, which you should always be doing, and as long as your on-off switch is set to p.ic. So go ahead and calculate the average of the following numbers. To calculate the average, just add the numbers up, and after you've hit asterisk at the very end, hit the AVG key. What answer did you get? You should get an answer of 5. This is printed on your tape as long as you hit the asterisk at the end of the problem and your on-off switch is set to p.ic. So on the test, you're going to have to use these functions. Grand total. Now remember, on your tape it shows as GT. Times rate, which shows as TC on your tape. TC stands for tax conversion. You have to use the tax plus function, and this shows as TX on your tape. And you have to use your AVG, your average function, which shows as AG on your tape. And you have to show your instructor where you've used the function on your tape. And as usual, if you calculate the answer using a different method, you will not receive credit for the answer. You must use the functions above.